They think they're safe here. They don't know about this rally. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Royce. Thanks so much for watching my video. Today what I have for you is Ashe LeBlanc. Now, I can't claim to have created this deck myself. This deck was pulled from another streamer and new YouTuber, Cocky Baki. So go ahead and visit his Twitch channel and especially his YouTube channel to give him some love, since I think he's just starting out. Now let me go ahead and describe the deck. This is not really a new idea. Ashe LeBlanc dates back to, I think, 9 to 12 months ago, pretty much whenever LeBlanc came out, but unfortunately I wasn't playing Legends of Runeterra at that point. I was on a long break. So this is a pretty new deck to me, and it's also a pretty new deck in the sense that Ashe got a big increase in power level. In the last patch, she got a buff. Now she only requires 4 enemies to be frostbitten instead of 5 in order to level. And Ashe's level condition is huge in this deck. If you don't know, when Ashe levels up, she prevents any enemies with 0 power from blocking. So that's a big deal because this deck is full of heavy hitters, like LeBlanc, like Ashe, like Yetis from Avarosa and Trapper. Trifarian Assessor gets big, Hearthguard is chunky. So this is all in all a mid-range deck. What we're trying to do is really curve out for those first few turns. Ideally get some freezes going as well. So the main tweak that I've made to this deck has been adjusting the ratios a little bit on the Frostbite cards. Instead of playing double 3 Sisters and just 1 Brittle Steel, I've switched those. 3 Sisters, it's nice for the flexibility, but just the requirement to pay an extra mana and then to be at least a 3 mana flash freeze compares pretty unfavorably to Brittle Steel in some situations. In some situations, you'd much rather pay 1 mana instead of 4 to frostbite a target, although keep in mind that Brittle Steel is more narrow in its applications. So this is going to be something that I'm looking out for as I play. Let me go a little bit further into the playstyle of the deck. So as I said, you're going to want to be curving out. This deck doesn't play any 1-drops, although you could play Omen Hawk. It's been done in the past. On 2, it plays Avarosan Sentry just to draw to your conditions, and Iceveil Archer, as well as Trifarian Glory Seeker. Trifarian Glory Seeker is really important because this deck is going to try to reach Reputation 4. Once you've reached your Reputation condition, once you've dealt damage with 4 times with 5 power units, all of a sudden this Whispered Words flips, so to speak, and gets much cheaper, down to 2 mana, draw 2, instead of 4 mana, draw 2. That's a really efficient card. Also, once we've reached Reputation, our Incisive Tactician is going to let us rally. A 6 mana 5/5 with rally on top of it is amazing. That's basically like a 5/5. You would usually expect to pay about 4 mana for that, so that's just a 2 extra mana to rally on top of that. And in Demacia, rally cards cost 4 mana, and they're some of the best cards in the game, so if we can get this to go off in the late game, this is going to be a big swing. We are playing that One of Reckoning, which is the last reason we want to have 5 power units. Sometimes this deck will play 2 or 3 copies of this. I would like to mess around with this myself and see how I feel about 1. But the important thing, like I've mentioned in previous videos, is sometimes being able to threaten the card, not necessarily to have the card. So if you can get the opponent to play around Reckoning and to make suboptimal plays, thinking that you have it in your hand, in a way they've started to lose already. I think I've mentioned the Yetis already, but they're just great 1 mana 5/5s to help with your Reputation condition and to help with Reckoning. And they're just really hard to chew through. Of course, LeBlanc is a great quick attack unit. LeBlanc is weaker in metas where Mystic Shot is really prevalent. I'm not sure if this is a really Mystic Shot heavy meta. I think it's sometimes played in Iceborne Poros, but I don't know if it's a 3 of. So we'll be seeing how that goes in this video. Ashe is, again, your win condition. Even when she's not flipped, she can help you push in some damage or get some +1s on the board because the opponent is forced to chump block the unit that previously was pretty strong, but now it's just getting killed for free by Ashe. Of course, we have Whispered Words for refill, and Trifarian Assessor does that as well. The interesting thing about Trifarian Assessor is once you've got some Hearthguards going, once you have one going, Trifarian Assessor can draw on her own, from her own body. And if you've played 2 Trifarian Assessor, then that's great news, because all of a sudden your Iceveil Archers and your, not Avarosan Sentries, your Iceveil Archers and your Avarosan Trappers start being, they start giving you draws as well with Trifarian Assessor. So, I think that's pretty much the deck, guys. It's not a super complicated one. We pretty much want to be playing on curve, and then in the late game, just top deck better than our opponents because of these Avaros and Hearthguards that we have going. Alright, let's go ahead and give it a try in a ranked game. Okay, I actually like playing against Ahri Kennen. This is the Go Hard version, so my Glory Seekers will be vulnerable. Let's keep that in mind. This does seem to go... I'm gonna try keeping Hearthguard in the mulligan this time. Ahri Kennen does seem to be not the fastest deck. Both of their level up conditions take some work. Okay. They probably want to go Droplet into Ahri.
I go where the winds blow, for now.
Do this and take 1 damage, that's fine.
Light steps.
Not gonna strike. So sad they don't know how this works.
Oh, that's it?
That's actually a really interesting thing about Legends of Runeterra. A unit with 0 power cannot strike. It doesn't strike for 0, it strikes for nothing. Like Glory Seeker.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
They have Go Hard. Yeah. Oh, you know what? There, I should have actually Troll Chanted. That was. Should have Troll Chanted. Keeping my thing alive. Advancing Droplet down to power. Which would have pushed extra 3 damage and kept my 5-1. That was a key miss because Troll Chance is not very good in this match. I don't think it's worth this one alive though.
Save the homestead.
I'm having trouble with triggers.
Watch your branches.
Okay, this can't block. This can. I'm gonna play Ashe. I'm gonna hope he swings in with Kennen. I'll block it. Oh, he can't even buff Kennen. Got a mana. Fine. We're a little bit below prize. Ashe level. Alright, so might be seeing a pack your bags here soon. I'm gonna just Hearthguard. I did keep it. So I'll give it a shot. It's also a bulky unit that's almost certainly going to get a reputation figure. Coming. Yep. Okay. They're looking for pack your bags.
Today we fight as
I actually
one.
don't remember how strong that is now. Been on. Let's actually Google. Alright, I'm looking for it. Go. Pack your bags does 5 and it costs 5. Okay. Fine.
I'll take care of this.
Okay. There's 1 for reputation. Still pretty far. You know I have the Ashe, so playing according. Droplet is at 4 already.
Extra hands never hurt.
Droplet is finished. I have 2 leveled cannons. Do I have anything that can stop that? Not currently. I'm gonna keep
If they're out there,
multiple troll
I'll
chants
spot
up though, in an effort to kill one of the cannons. Let's see if they actually notice. Okay.
You fight, show me.
They don't notice.
this is our homeland. Ready the torches.
Okay, let's buff this out of Indiscipline's range. Still has twin on this one, but then I can troll chant. I'm hoping not to see a double recoil here. It might still be a single recoil. Okay, so both cannons dead. Really nice.
I need just a moment.
They have so many dancing droplets that no particular dancing droplet is really should be a priority of kill.
I will unite.
Gonna
the
Ashe here.
Vanguard.
This will give us reputation. Well, he actually already would have had it. Could have maybe thought about playing around pack your bags here. But in retrospect, I guess things worked out.
I'll cut them apart. You're mine.
Avarosans, stand together.
It will be done.
Fine with it, right? I'm gonna keep these freezes now for Ahri.
Wild hearts should run free.
I'd like to get something with more than 3 health.
Two steps into moonlight.
Okay.
Look
Okay, what
out
have you
for
got?
reavers.
The
I don't need to right now. By doing this, we can plus potentially Three Sisters, or plus potentially Fury of the North, I mean. I'm already, I already have Reputation 4, so that's why I'm not blocking with Ashe. I'd rather risk my Sentry than my... So here they have a pretty wide board. That's fine. Here they have a pretty wide board. So I could potentially free combat free. Okay, so that's your last go hard. You're about to get pack your bags. I could potentially pre-combat freeze and then draw my crystal arrow and then just swing in. Draw right now, actually. Unfortunately, my whole board is kind of susceptible to a pack your bag. See, I don't think they're gonna pack this. And it's a slow spell, I believe. They can't respond to my Reckoning. Nice. Yep, there it is. So we have Flash Freeze on the defense. Stay alive here. So far, I think we've taken out 2 Kennen and 2 Ahri, if my memory serves.
I go where the winds blow, for now.
Yes.
Butcher.
You can double free,
The forest
or
surrounds
just
us.
single free.
Tread carefully.
Let's do that. If they buff this up, we'll flash freeze it. Okay. A little bit awkward. You don't need to take the opportunity to Culling Strike the Ahri, as Ahri will continue to be Culling Strikeable, even G level.
If they're out there, I'll spot them. What did we catch?
Psst, act natural. I got you.
Okay.
My search is over. Now I hunt.
Get some cards going here.
Right to call themselves Trifarian.
Using that pre-combat to develop a blocker. I want to keep this for the defense. If I do this, you will Concussive Palm.
Faster than my arrow?
Fine.
I think not.
Only these two have value blocks. This does not, and the Eye of the Dragon does not, or the Tail of the Dragon, rather.
I'm through waiting.
So there are a few things I can't beat here.
You cannot win.
I can't beat some power buffs. I think. I have this plus this plus flash plus this flash freeze. Okay. Let's go here, put it on the stack. And here.
The time is right. Strike now.
So I can react to one thing here, but not two. In other words, if they can buff, I re-frostbite and then buff, I'm in trouble. Okay, so that means I have to.
The time is right. Strike now.
So any attack buff here wins them the game. It would have to be Twin Disciplines, I think. Okay, that doesn't do it.
Too slow.
They're gonna replay it. Looking for another. Okay, that's good. I was gonna say they're looking for another palm. Luckily we can freeze, swing into rally swing. Can also play Crystal Arrow here. This will help us sniff out a Nopify if that's what they drew.
Let fly.
I don't think that they have enough here. That was probably their best top deck. I think we just go in. Okay, so if we swing in now, they only have one blocker, which is Ahri.
Swiftly now.
We have Fury of the North if we also have Decisive Tactician coming in. The reason why I didn't freeze there, the reason why I didn't freeze there is we had the open, and if they were able to survive, they couldn't have survived the rally. I think they might have been super dead no matter what I did there. To be frank, that's how I've always seen you. I think I was asking, and you said you never tried this card game, is that right? I'm not gonna be able to focus here, I'm so nervous. There it is. Alright, Trapper is good. I'm attacking uneven. So that means I can play this on the defense. It's a good defense card. Combat tricks aren't so good against Pantheon. They'll always beat you with combat tricks, and I think it's too early to... Tried Hearthstone, but you didn't like it. Yeah, man. I think I remember you saying that. What am I playing again? Boku no Freelo. Giving at me. Are you Boku no Freelo, Artemis? Yeah, dude, I really appreciate you you tuning in. I don't know, a lot of the time people will be like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'll follow," and then they follow and they don't catch the stream. Here's cousin Boku no Pico. Oh, I think I learned that I shouldn't. I'm not supposed to read that. That's what I recall. All right, so I can pre-freeze. And it'll be a 1/4. Then I have a good block with LeBlanc. I have to pre-freeze here because Brittle Steel is only eligible on a 3 or less health unit, and it's about 4 health units. Also, since I'm responding to my opponent's action, I'll still have an action in response. Oh yeah, I was playing LeBlanc. So, are you at work right now? I'm not sure what time zone you're in.
I will die when I am ready.
Okay. Wait. You're in bed, but yeah, logged into work. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So, I think I'm gonna let them Zenith Blade the Saga Seeker if they want, and then I'm just gonna calling it, which means I need to keep it open. I'm not gonna swing because they'll be able to definitely buff their Mountain Goat by 2 health.
Took the bait.
Actually, I think alternatively I can just oh. Hey, you showed me that that was the wrong one, buddy. Now I know an extra card in your hand. Okay. Let's see, if I pre-kill this, does that mean that it doesn't count as a Pantheon target? That'd be ideal. Oh, it does work like that. Oh, brain powers. It really helps to have played using the decks that you're up against in this game. Like, understanding a matchup in theory is so much worse than understanding a matchup in practice. They wounded White Flame. They can Zenith Blade it. I'm gonna play my Hearthguard.
The War Mother will unite us all.
Here they only, if you remember, like 3 cards from Hearthstone. Do you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh? Even years after I last played Yu-Gi-Oh, I always remembered MST, Mystical Space Typhoon, 3 of staple in every deck. I'm not sure if it ever showed up in the anime though. I just want to be greedy with my Trifarian Assessor here. Do I have an attack with my Hearthguard? Oh yeah, you can remember the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That was before you became memory. Sag. Let's Hearthguard and see if we can get an attack with Hearthguard.
Under one banner.
So yeah, this game is interesting. In Magic the Gathering, well, you know the rules in Magic the Gathering. On your own turn, you can play your cards. On the opponent's turn, they can play their cards. The exception is that in MTG, you can play instants on the opponent's turn. So like, I cast an instant during the end step, right? But in Legends of Runeterra, it's kind of a weird initiative system where instead you kind of pass actions back and forth. So the only exception is that in Runeterra, like basically at the beginning of the game randomly. It's randomly decided on if you're going to move first or second. So if you move first, that basically means on round 1 you're going to have the attack token, which means you get like a battle phase. What do we do here? Okay, they need to spend 2 cards. Hello? Sorry, I'm frozen and wait. They found something. Dang it. Alright. Yeah, so in this game, it randomly decides on if you get an attack on turn 1 or not. But basically all that affects is like... Or sorry, on round 1. Basically all that affects is on round 1, like who gets the first action during that round and who can attack during that round. And then it passes to the opponent. So like here, they're going to get the attack token. So they can swing at me this turn, and they also get the first action. But every time they make like a hard action that passes back to me, I can then do something in response. So it's a very interactive game. It's kind of a complicated concept to explain, and it's not like any other card game. But I've been thinking about making a YouTube guide on it because it's the thing that is most often understood. So here, they passed, and then I'm like, yeah, sure, dude, you know, you're not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to get my battle phase back. And it's more complicated than that, but that's pretty close to it. That's pretty close to it.
What did we catch?
And their game plan here is to try to level up their Pantheon, or their champion Pantheon, which needs to be targeted on 5 different turns. If I can just get them to skip their turn, that's amazing. Checked, monk, become YouTuber. Yeah, man. That's what it's all about. So, do I want to keep this alive? See. I guess. I'm kind of like scaring them right. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna nerf power on this one. That way it doesn't contest my yet when I attack in. And yeah, they're gonna be able to more easily kill this, but they also have to spend a card. And this deck really doesn't want to double their targeting, like two targets per turn, because Pantheon needs to have you target your cards on 5 separate turns during the game. Let's see. Yeah, let's just Assessor, draw 2. Play this chonky boy. And that's still within range of all of the attackers. Actually, no, it's not. So it'll get a free block against the Trifarian Assessor, but that's fine.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
But a really good thing in this game is I'm at full life. And when Pantheon comes down, he basically is given... He comes down in his post-leveled form. He gets Overwhelm, Barrier, which is like Divine Shield from Hearthstone, if you remember that. Overwhelm is like Trample. And he gets 5 other random keywords since he's been targeted 5 times. So he's like a big finisher. So if the opponent's done some chip damage to you, if they've gotten you down to 10, maybe even 15, sometimes just dead. Because keywords are good in this game. Like, they can get flying, basically, which is... It's called... in this game, but basically flying. They can get Scout, which basically means it more or less lets you attack twice in the same turn.
Stand together.
They're gonna have to block here, I think. Get in for 9. Alternatively, they could Guiding Touch, but they really don't want to be blocking with their big... This is like a win condition deck. This in Pantheon. Okay, so they're actually just taking the trade instead. Taking more damage. Probably worth it for them. Now I get 2 mana draw 2, pretty nice. and my third Hearthguard, so my deck is beefy. Easy. Alright, so I can actually Hearthguard plus Whispered Words plus Flash Freeze. Oh, that's another interesting thing about this game. So in Magic, if you don't spend, if you don't tap all your lands and spend all your mana, that mana is basically just wasted. It's gone. But in this game, they kind of leveled out the luck of the draw there by saying, okay, up to 3 of your unspent mana gets banked, and then that banked mana can be spent on your spells later. Oh, this feels bad, man. So what he's doing is wait, he hasn't even attacked yet. He's basically just paying 4 mana to give this Divine Shield. Normally this would give him an extra battle phase, but he's not. Well, that's fine. Let's draw some cards. It's 8 6s. So here I'm gonna wait for Boku no Freelo to swing in.
Stand and defend.
And the problem here is, like, they wasted their extra attack. They can play Pantheon now, but it doesn't do much. And then I'm going to get a really big backswing with Ashe plus LeBlanc.
Places to go, people to be.
LeBlanc even gives me this 1 mana deal 2 damage to target, so I only have to get in for 2 this turn. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Pantheon? A little late. Okay. That's a pretty nice move there. Okay. Nice! Alright, Lurk. So, in the Lurk matchup, it's more important than ever to try to disrupt the opponent, because they're going to want to be swinging in every turn. So if I can get... The freezes are really good here. Avaros and Trapper, I'm just going to mull away these expensive cards. I don't know if I keep Flash Freeze. It doesn't... I kind of want it for the mid game. I think I'll just keep Avaros and Trapper. I'd rather have Brittle Steel. Pulling Strike is nice because I can pre-kill a unit before it gets a chance to attack. So the game plan of this deck is to activate... they got unlucky. So they've filled their deck with like 35 or 34 copies or something of cards that have this Lurk keyword, which basically means that when a unit attacks and there is a Lurker, or there's a Lurk card on the top of the deck, all other units with Lurk get +1 attack. So they're sort of ramping up throughout the game. Pass. Okay, them using Feral Prescience now seems really strange. Usually you want to use that right before you swing on your own turn, but I see that they had Snapjaw Swarm, so it made it make more. Yeah, I'm gonna get rushed down here a little bit. They're gonna open attack here. I won't be able to get my Trapper down fast enough. At least I think so. So I think I'm just gonna take this right here, because this is gonna get progressively worse throughout the game. None of their units will have 3 or less power. Also, Feral Prescience is a pretty rare illusion in this deck. Like, it seems like it would be perfect because it lets them predict, which basically just means look at the top. It's kind of like Scry 3 almost. Like, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose the one to put on top. The other 2 are either right below it or shuffled in. I'm not sure. But Feral Prescience itself does not have Lurk, which just means it's risky to put in. Lurk is... It's actually fun to play, in my opinion. It's one of my least favorite designed decks. just because it sort of demands that play all the Lurk cards and they're just enough to build a deck out of, and it's a good deck, but like there may be like 2 flex spots in the whole 40 card list. Oh yeah, that's really rough. So when Pike lurks, he turns into a card that basically does his attack to target and summons a copy of him. So I'm just going to swing in here. Pike also has this ability where he levels up when copies of Pike have done a certain amount of damage, and his effect basically means that he just chain kills everything on the board. Kills one thing. Freeze on Pike would be nice. Didn't draw it. I could try to Whispered Words into Brittle Steel. Running 2 copies. That's like a 13% chance. I'm going to draw 2. Do I have a better play? I think we just do this now. You don't want to block with LeBlanc. It doesn't even kill the unit. And this draws nothing. This can't block. Let's just do this. Okay, well, it's good, I guess. Probably not going to block with it, but it's something playable. Gross. What? Hello? Okay. I guess that makes sense. I think we keep this because he's not allowed to block this. Alright, so we're kind of banking on this Trifarian Glory. Something for here. I think we're gonna start by playing Ashe. Make him think that's the thing to take out if possible. Oh, also another thing is I just kind of automatically refer to opponents in video games as him. It's something I'm actively actually trying to stop because I think it's just language matters, you know. But them.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
Okay. So I think here we actually just don't swing in with Ashe. Could that be correct? Because Ashe is going to this. If you swing in with Ashe, we also attack and Trapper. Either way, gonna have the same.
I'll cut them apart.
That's a hard one. Swinging with Ashe gets a freeze trigger. It gets some more reputation hits. Reputation basically means hitting for 5 power. It's on here. Okay. Go Sentry. I like blocking the Sentry. Okay, so that guarantees the Lurk trigger.
Ready the torches.
Lead the target.
How close are we? We're almost at reputation.
Light the signal fires.
They walked around.
Few earn the right to call themselves Trifarian.
So my goal here is to try to swing in with Ashe, and if possible, keep her alive when I do that. I can do that now, but alright, here's what I do. I freeze here. I don't know if it doesn't matter where I'm freezing.
The time is right. Strike now.
This might not work.
Avarosans,
I'm trying to get
together.
a good culling strike here, but they're just gonna value block. What are my units? I can't really get a good. Next turn I can wrap.
This will be quick.
The good thing is they're almost out of cards. But I'm gonna have to culling strike this because the overwhelm scares me. But yeah, this deck I think is not very well refined. This deck that I'm up against. I mean, I'm not complaining, but they're playing. There's a burst spell they played which gives my unit vulnerable, but that doesn't have Lurk either. Stuff like that is dangerous to play because missing Lurk triggers is like game lose. They missed their turn 1, which is why I'm still in this game. Okay, nice. Freeze.
Winter take you.
I'm afraid of Rek'Sai here. No Rek'Sai, okay.
They admire the rose, but forget its thorns.
So here they grab the Ashe, I think. Yeah. Oh, they missed their Lurk again. That's why you can't get too crazy with the deck building here. It's really dangerous. So here I could consider swinging, and then Incisive Tactician, and then swing again. It can't get death from below. I think I'll Ashe.
All the world on
Jill
one
Frostbite,
arrow.
the whatever blocker they play. See, they think they're safe here. They don't know about this rally. If they could have death from below here, we would lose to it.
Leaping into action.
Alright, GG. But since they missed their Lurk trigger there, I knew that they didn't have it. So when they get their Lurk trigger, there's like a sound effect, and it's like a swishy ocean noise, you know? Swishy ocean noises. So there are a few units that they played out that can actually acquire Overwhelm, but only once they get enough Lurk triggers. They have to be at 8 power and they start at 3. They need 5 Lurk triggers, and I think that they were missing 1 or 2. Alright, we're attacking on odds. Oh, it's solo Viego. So this is a control style deck. We want to... I think we kind of want to race under it. Could keep Ashe for 5, but I think it's better to have Avaros and Sentry. Better to have... Glory Seeker is good against Viego itself. Yeah, double 3-drop is pretty decent, actually. So on 3, Viego wants to be playing Camivore and Soldier. That would stop my attack. Camivore and Soldier summons an ephemeral unit, which just dies at the end of the turn anyway. Yeah. So here, if I were to attack, they would just get a free block here. I would take 1 damage on that for no reason. Yes. We're shuffling in a few Yetis here, so I think we might just Yeti Assessor pretty soon, or like in a couple turns. I'm gonna Brittle Steel because this deck tends to have pretty large units. It's kind of hard to use. Oh yeah, this game also has some... Okay, that's fine. This game has some funny emotes. like little animated GIFs.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I have a nice open attack here. I can get in for 6. I think I just take that. I don't play out the Yeti.
Hot on the trail.
So yeah, that's an example of the action system in this game. If I play out the Yeti, they have a chance to develop a
For all who leave.
Let's see. I'm gonna develop a they're below deny. It does have 3 or less power. Okay. Bugging out for a second. Viego is able to sort of buff himself the longer he's on the board, so I just don't want him to snowball.
It can't be.
Although playing 2 cards for 6 mana to answer a 5 mana champion does not feel thing. It is what it is. Okay, I think I'm onto them. What they want to do here is they want to use a card which gives one of my... It's ephemeral. I was kind of hoping they would do it in combat though, so I could still kill their unit. So they have Ruination mana. Ruination is a full board clear for 9 mana. So I'm a little afraid of developing too much into it. I'm okay developing a card draw card,
Can see the Demacian border from here.
but I really like to see them tap down. Okay, nice. What I'm going to do here is pull this lifesteal unit to the right. That basically means that all of the other attacks go through where he has a chance to heal. I don't think we're going to get lethal here. This blocks here. I get 3, 6, 10, 12. But it's just good practice. Okay. So I think I'm going to use a Troll Chant, keep my Challenger unit alive, and to make them heal. We are still 2 away from Reputation, so keeping these 5-power units is pretty important. But Hydravine is arguably even better than Champion. It gets a free Encroaching Mist every turn without doing anything else. Encroaching Mist is the mechanism by which they buff their Viego. Okay, so here, that makes it even more important to get Reputation. I definitely want to kill. I think I block here, actually. This plays around, well, it doesn't play around Barrier, but it does play around Twin Disciplines. Or am I trolling? I'm trolling. Make him have it.
For Reavers.
Ooh, another one. Okay, well at least this one is dead. I don't really care if I keep it. Let's use this right now. Since this is ephemeral, it dies at the end of the turn. I want to get value. By the way, I am notoriously bad against Viego decks. I always tend to lose. Okay, so doing that was pretty smart in the sense that it blocked a wider attack from me. So in other words, they're kind of afraid of losing. But it did mean that they had to spend 6 mana to just block my attack, that's it. So a little bit afraid of Ruination, so we'll play a Sentry first.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
One candle for every
Okay.
soul.
And Ashe here is good at
Arrow? I think not.
basically preventing this from value blocking.
Echoes of my wounding.
So they're doing everything they can to stay alive. I'm going to push in probably 2 damage.
Watch Lurk.
Viego is getting pretty close to leveling now.
Surrender to me.
So let's see how close.
Continue without me.
Viego will not level this turn. Viego will level next. I'm gonna... Do I still have a Falling Strike in the deck? I have 2. Let's draw. Yeah, we didn't get it. I'm not gonna play this champion because Viego can actually steal champions. My plan here is to play Hearthguard and defense. Okay, I actually have to block both of these because this deck runs Atrocity, which basically just says sack a unit and deal damage equal to its power to anything.
I command you.
By blocking down, I am moving my ability to win a little bit, but I'm playing against something very specific. So the rule here is I don't further develop here because they're just going to take whatever I play. So I wish we had something we could play alongside LeBlanc and Ashe. It's a little bit of a weak. But I want to wait until we need.
Places to go.
An Ashe plus freeze, especially when she's leveled, is a pretty nice surprise. Basically prevents all attacks. So I'm going to try to draw first to get them to blink, basically. I do have Ashe roll chant to help keep her alive. So here they have a couple options. They technically don't need to block. Well, let's see. Okay, Vile Feast there. It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna swing in. I can Brittle Steel plus Troll Chant. Oh, they've played another blocker there. Okay, I think I just need to go all in. I now realize that the reason they played the Vile Feast is that they wanted another blocker. For some reason, I was thinking Ashe would. It's the whole block.
The time is right. Strike now.
So here I kind of need them to have nothing. I'm going all in. Possible. But they would need very little to prevent my kill here. Oh, nice, dude. I can't believe that I actually beat a Viego deck with 4 cards in their hand. They had nothing.
Step closer.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video on Ashe LeBlanc. It's been a really fun day, and I've got to say this is my favorite deck to lose with that I've played in a long time. Now that's not to say all I did was lose, but even in the games where ultimately I couldn't clutch it out, I felt close and I felt like the opponent just got the better of me at the last second. It never felt like a foregone conclusion. So what I want to do right now is go through the deck, talk about the performance of the individual cards, and discuss whether any of them should be changed based on what I saw today. So first, let's just clarify that some of these cards are not flex cards at all, and if they're obvious inclusions, I'll just say that. But when it's a little bit iffy, I'll let you know some other things to play instead. So, Brittle Steel. Okay, so Brittle Steel is the first of a Frostbite package that you can be pretty flexible with. And that package is Brittle Steel, Three Sisters, and Flash Freeze. I could even see you maybe playing Harsh Winds, but it's especially these three. Brittle Steel and Flash Freeze are valuable because they are low to the ground. Flash Freeze can hit everything, but Brittle Steel can still hit a surprising amount of targets for 1 mana, which is the reason that I'm playing more copies of it in this deck than the original deck that I got the deck from. Three Sisters, on the other hand, is the most flexible of the three because it can be a freeze, or a frostbite rather, it can be a buff, or it can basically be hard removal but temporary removal. And that's really nice against some targets. Like sometimes you basically play this for the occasions where you might want Fury of the North or might want Entomb. And those situations did come up in my games. There was a situation where I played a Fury of the North off of Three Sisters. But the reason that I'm not playing more than just one in this deck, even though the deck that I was copying off of was playing 2 copies, is that the flexibility in a tempo style, mid-range style deck isn't always worth the mana cost. And when Three Sisters is coming in at a minimum of 1 + 3 = 4 mana, that's pretty pricey just for a single target freeze. And I'd say in 80% of the times that I would want to cast Three Sisters, I just want it for Flash Freeze. So if you... Three Sisters is personally my least favorite of the 3 different cards in the Frostbite package, but if in your meta you're finding that you want to use Fury of the North and Entomb more often than I did, definitely consider increasing this to 2 or even 3 copies. Brittle Steel is also flexible. I like playing it as at least a 1 of, to make the opponent respect it. You cast 1 Brittle Steel and they say, oh, is there a second or a third? In my case, there's a second one. But even if there's not, they're playing around it, and that's what we want to do. So we want to force them to be a... And yeah, Flash Freeze, it could also be probably anywhere from 1 to 3. But I like playing at least 1 copy of all 3 of those cards. Avaros and Sentry, mandatory 3 of. This is your best turn 2 in the average scenario, where you are neither going hyper offense and removing like a turn 2 threat that quickly, and you're also not going hyper defense by freezing one of their cards. Avaros and Sentry is just it's a loot hoarder. If you've played Hearthstone, it's just a good card. Trifarian Glory Seeker is a really interesting card in the sense that it looks like a 2-drop, but it's not. It does cost 2 mana, but it's pretty rare for you to play it on 2. Sometimes I will if I'm against decks that I know have a pretty heavy top end, but not a lot of 1 or 2 mana cards, just because I want to swing in for a free 5 damage. Sometimes you'll just pass on 2, and then they'll play a threat, and then you'll take them by surprise and play Trifarian Glory Seeker and trade even. So very good card. It also has 5 power, so you want to be playing this at the copies. Troll Chant is nice. It has some synergy with the deck in the sense that you can lower a target's power, making it more susceptible to something like Culling Strike or Reckoning. It's also just a good card overall, but you could definitely adjust the ratios for this. I wouldn't be mad at going down to 2 copies of Troll Chant. Avaros and Trapper is a card that you could consider playing 3 copies of. The Yetis are pretty nice. Late game, having a 1 mana 5/5 is actually not that good value though, because you're less concerned with how much mana you're spending and you're more concerned with how big your threats are. So sometimes late game, just dropping a vanilla 3/3 into a vanilla 5/5, even one that costs 1, is enough. But if you're going up against decks that play at a similar speed to you, then just having a consistent turn 3 play, again like Avaros and Sentry, Trapper is a great turn 3 play in the average scenario, followed up a few turns later by a 5/5, which can also help you get additional draws from Trifarian Assessor, is really nice. So I would play at least 2 copies of Trapper. Culling Strike is great, but it's also very meta dependent. So 3 copies is pretty heavy, although it has great synergy with Frostbites in this deck. So if I were looking at, there were actually a lot of times in these games that I was specifically fishing for Culling Strike. So I'm glad I had it when I did. But if you're looking for a card to cut, Culling Strike is also an option. We already talked about Flash Freeze, and obviously you want to play 3 LeBlanc, one of the champions, and Ashe. Whispered Words is a great draw card, and it's funny because the Bandle City draw 2 card was just nerfed from from 3 mana to 4 mana, and that's 4 mana like after accomplishing a certain condition. This is 4 mana starting, and it can potentially be as low as 2, which is just amazing. I'd say this is one of the best draw cards in the game. It's just that Noxus doesn't always have the best support for it, but if you're playing the 5 power package, definitely go with 3 Whispered Words. Avaros and Hearthguard is nice. You could consider going down to 2, especially if you find yourself getting into turn 5 situations where like the game is already lost and you're like, hey, I don't have time to draw a bunch more cards and eke out the advantage of +1/+1 on each of the units I draw for the rest of the game. Like the game is over this turn. In that case, you can go down to 2 copies, maybe even 1. But the nice thing about Avaros and Hearthguard is it can actually buff Trifarian and Assessor, so it draws off of itself. So that's a nice little combo that we used to do with Hearthguard and also Omenhawk back in the day. We're not playing Omenhawk in this deck, but I think Hearthguard is still a solid inclusion at least 1 or 2 copies. Assessor, I would say this is mandatory. You really need the refill, and this, along with Whispered Words, helps you get to the late game a lot. Reckoning is probably the biggest flex spot of the entire deck. We're just playing 1 copy, but this deck is so infamous for having Reckoning, which is such a weird board clear, unlike almost any other card in the game, that people always play around Reckoning. So you might find yourself actually in situations where you can just totally cut this from your deck, hold up 6 mana, and just threaten it all the time, and the opponent will be forced to play around a card that's not even in your hand. I personally like playing Reckoning. It's really good against wide boards of Ahri Kennen. It's also good against Bandle Tree. I had a Bandle Tree match where they just kept playing chump blockers over and over, and they closed it out with their landmark, and I never was able to really hit their face. Reckoning might have helped me get through and actually close out that game. An Incisive Tactician is even better than it seems at first. Even having an 8 mana 5/5 rally when it's not expected on your own turn after the opponent was just able to cling on to their life, or on the opponent's turn when they've just done a full swing. They're like, who cares if Royce can value block me? I just got to get in for lethal. You manage to stay alive just so you play the Incisive Tactician. They've torn up their board themselves, and you can just get in. So some other cards you could consider playing in this deck, now that I've gone through the actual deck list. Anyway, guys, that is the YouTube video. Thanks so much for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed the games and that they were entertaining, educational, or both. That'll do it for the YouTube video. If you liked this content, please like and subscribe so I know you'd like to see more of this kind of content. I will see you next time.